He had nothing. No home, no job, and only $1 left in his pocket. But when he saw a hungry child on the street, he made a decision that would change everything. He gave away his last dollar, expecting nothing in return. But the next day, something unbelievable happened. A luxury car pulled up in front of him. And when he saw who stepped out, he was left speechless. Stay tuned for an incredible story of kindness, fate, and a shocking twist. Mark had once lived a normal life. A job, a small apartment, and a future filled with hope. But life had been cruel. A series of unfortunate events left him on the streets with nothing but the clothes on his back and a single dollar in his pocket. He had learned to survive with very little, relying on the kindness of strangers and whatever small jobs he could find. That day, as he sat on a park bench, he noticed a small boy walking by. The child looked exhausted, his clothes slightly torn, and his stomach growling. Mark watched as the boy searched his pockets for money, but found nothing. A pang of sympathy hit Mark. He knew what hunger felt like. He reached into his pocket, pulled out his last dollar, and gently called out to the boy. "Hey kid, here, go get yourself something to eat." The boy's eyes widened in surprise. "But sir, this is all you have." Mark forced a smile. "Don't worry about me. Just promise me you'll eat something." The child hesitated, then took the dollar with a grateful smile. "Thank you, sir." And just like that, he disappeared into the crowd. Mark sighed, knowing he had nothing left. But for some reason, he felt at peace. He had done the right thing. What he didn't know was that this one small act of kindness was about to change his life forever. The next morning, Mark woke up in his usual spot, a quiet alleyway where he tried to sleep. As he stretched and prepared for another tough day, he noticed something unusual. A luxury black car had stopped in front of him. His first thought was that someone had called security on him. But before he could react, the door opened. And stepping out was the little boy from yesterday. Only this time, he wasn't alone. Beside him stood a tall, well-dressed man in an expensive suit. His face was serious, but his eyes held something Mark couldn't quite place: respect. The boy grinned. "Dad, this is the man I was telling you about." Mark's heart pounded. "Wait, what?" The man stepped forward, his gaze never leaving Mark. "You're the one who gave my son your last dollar?" Mark swallowed hard. Yes, sir." He looked hungry. "I just wanted to help." The man studied him for a moment, then smiled. A genuine, warm smile. "My name is Richard Lawson, and I don't think you realize what you just did." Mark furrowed his brows. "I don't understand." Richard sighed. "Most people ignore those in need. But not you. Even when you had nothing, you chose kindness." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a thick envelope. "I run a company that values people like you. People who show kindness, even when no one is watching. And I think it's time someone helped you for a change." Mark hesitated before opening the envelope. Inside was something that made his breath catch in his throat. A check for $50,000. Mark's hands shook. "Sir, I can't accept this." Richard chuckled. "You already did. And that's not all. If you're willing, I have a job offer for you. Something stable. Something real. What do you say?" Tears welled up in Mark's eyes. Just yesterday he had given away his last dollar. And now, someone was giving him a fresh start. Mark swallowed hard and whispered, "I don't know how to thank you." Richard placed a hand on his shoulder. "Just promise me one thing. One day, when you're in a position to help someone else, pay it forward." Mark nodded, wiping his tears. "I will. I swear I will." Weeks later, Mark stood in front of his new apartment. His new job had given him a second chance, and he was determined not to waste it. As he looked at his reflection in the mirror, No longer a homeless man, but a man with purpose. He remembered the little boy's smile and Richard's words. One small act of kindness had rewritten his fate. And he knew, deep in his heart, that one day he would do the same for someone else. Kindness doesn't cost a thing, but sometimes it pays back in ways you never expect. Never underestimate the power of a small act of goodness, because you never know whose life it might change, including your own. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful real-life stories. Have you ever seen kindness come full circle? Tell us in the comments.